When people think of narcissists, they often imagine arrogance or vanity. But their true power lies in something quieter and far more subtle. Narcissists rely on manipulation that is designed to confuse, exhaust, and trap you. This isn't always obvious. It doesn't come with a warning sign. Instead, it sneaks into your daily conversations and relationships until you doubt what is real and what is not. The tactic we're talking about is gaslighting. This single method is one of the most destructive tools a narcissist uses. Gaslighting is when someone twists reality, denies facts, or rewrites events to make you question your memory and judgment. It's so effective because it leaves you unsure of yourself. If you can't trust your own mind, the narcissist has full control over how you think, feel, and act. Imagine recalling a conversation where they insulted you. You bring it up only for them to say, "That never happened. You're too sensitive." Suddenly, you second-guess your memory. This is gaslighting in action. It's not about truth, but about control. The narcissist knows that if they can make you question what's real, you'll turn to them for answers instead of trusting your own inner voice. Gaslighting isn't always loud or aggressive. It can be quiet, almost tender at times. They may say things like, "I'm only telling you this because I care," right after undermining you. By mixing cruelty with false concern, they make the manipulation harder to recognize. You may even feel guilty for suspecting them. That confusion is intentional. It keeps you off balance and easier to control. One reason gaslighting works so well is because it preys on trust. Most of us want to believe people we care about. Narcissists exploit this natural trust by bending it against us. They rely on the assumption that you wouldn't hide to expect someone close to you to deliberately lie or distort reality. By the time you realize what's happening, your self-confidence is already under attack. Spotting gaslighting begins with paying attention to patterns, not isolated incidents. Everyone forgets details sometimes, but when denials, contradictions, or dismissals happen repeatedly, it's no accident. Narcissists thrive on repetition. Over time, constant gaslighting eats away at your sense of stability. If you feel like you're always apologizing or questioning your sanity, that's a warning sign. Another clue is how you feel after interacting with them. Healthy conversations leave you feeling heard and understood. With a narcissist, you often leave feeling confused, guilty, or small. That emotional aftermath is a strong indicator. Gaslighting is less about what's said and more about the impact it leaves on you. Your emotions are the evidence of what's really going on. Narcissists also disguise gaslighting with humor or sarcasm. They might say something cruel, then laugh and claim, "I was just joking." The aim is to make you doubt whether you're overreacting. By hiding behind humor, they dodge accountability while still delivering the sting. Over time, these jokes teach you to accept disrespect and silence your discomfort. One of the most damaging aspects of gaslighting is how it isolates you from others. Narcissists want you to depend solely on their version of reality. They might say, "Your friends don't really understand you," or "Your family is against us." By cutting off outside voices, they become your only source of truth. This makes their control even stronger and harder to break free from. To spot this tactic, you need to practice anchoring yourself in facts. Keep a journal of conversations. Write down what was said and revisit it later. When someone tries to deny or twist those words, you'll have proof. Even if you don't confront them directly, documenting reality helps you rebuild trust in your own mind. That's the first step to breaking free of their control. Gaslighting often comes with rewriting history. A narcissist may insist an event unfolded differently, even when the truth is obvious. They may claim, "You never told me that," or "That's not what happened." This steady denial chips away at your trust in memory. When repeated enough, it creates mental fog. The goal is not accuracy, but to make you depend on them as the final judge of what is real. Another common strategy is minimizing your feelings. If you say something hurt you, they might reply, "You're overreacting," or "It's not a big deal." Such phrases dismiss your emotions, leaving you questioning if your reactions are valid. Over time, you stop trusting your instincts. The narcissist benefits when you ignore your inner signals. because it keeps you more obedient and easier to mold. Narcissists also weaponize praise to confuse you. They may alternate between cruel criticism and sudden compliments. After tearing you down, they throw in flattery, saying, "But you're still amazing." This emotional whiplash makes you crave their approval. The tactic works because your brain starts linking the pain of criticism with the reward of praise, creating a toxic cycle of control and dependency. Sometimes gaslighting is disguised as concern. A narcissist may say, "I just want what's best for you," while subtly eroding your confidence. They present themselves as your guide or protector, but behind the mask lies manipulation. This false care keeps you second-guessing your independence. By convincing you that they know better, they position themselves as the authority over your choices and freedom. Another clue is how arguments always seem to shift. When you raise a valid point, they derail the conversation, bringing up old mistakes or unrelated issues. This tactic confuses the focus, making you defend yourself instead of addressing their behavior. Over time, you feel like every conversation is a maze. This constant shifting prevents accountability and ensures the narcissist always has the upper hand. Pay attention to the phrases that keep returning. Narcissists use patterns like, "You're imagining things," or "Everyone agrees with me." These statements are designed to shut you down. By suggesting that others side with them, they create an invisible crowd backing their version of reality. This group illusion makes you feel isolated and weak, strengthening their control while leaving you full of doubt. Gaslighting thrives when silence becomes your habit. If you start avoiding conflict just to keep peace, it's a red flag. Narcissists count on your exhaustion, knowing you'll stop pushing back. Each time you stay quiet, their power grows. They interpret silence as victory, reinforcing their belief that their reality is the only one that matters. Recognizing this pattern is vital to breaking free from it. Spotting this tactic also requires listening to your body. Do you feel tension, headaches, or a knot in your stomach after certain conversations? These physical signs are often the first alarms your mind sends. Even when your brain is tricked, your body remembers the stress. If interactions consistently leave you drained, anxious, or dizzy with confusion, it's likely you are being gaslighted repeatedly. A powerful way to fight back is to trust your gut. Narcissists thrive on doubt, but intuition rarely lies. If something feels off, honor that instinct instead of dismissing it. Write it down, speak to trusted friends, or seek professional support. The moment you begin validating your inner voice again, the narcissist's control weakens. You reclaim the authority over your own perception and truth. Recovery begins with separating their voice from yours. Gaslighting makes their words echo in your head, telling you that you're wrong, dramatic, or unworthy. To spot this, notice whose voice you're hearing. If the judgment feels cruel or dismissive, it's likely theirs, not yours. Distinguishing the difference is like breaking a spell. Slowly, you learn to believe yourself again and reclaim stability. Narcissists often blur timelines to make you feel lost. They'll insist something happened last week when it was months ago, or claim a conversation never occurred at all. This twisting of time is not accidental. It's meant to shake your confidence in remembering events correctly. When you lose track of what really happened, they step in as the authority, making you dependent on their version of reality. Another subtle form of gaslighting is exaggeration. They may take a small flaw of yours and inflate it, repeating it often until you see yourself through their distorted lens. For example, forgetting one detail becomes, "You're always forgetful." These sweeping statements wear you down, making you believe you're flawed and incapable. By weakening your self-image, they tighten their grip on your thoughts. Projection is another weapon in their arsenal. They accuse you of the very things they are guilty of. If they're lying, they'll claim you're dishonest. If they're controlling, they'll accuse you of being overbearing. This not only distracts you, but also forces you to defend yourself. By flipping the blame, they escape accountability and keep you busy proving your innocence instead of questioning theirs. Sometimes they use other people to reinforce the gaslighting. They'll claim, "Everyone thinks you're overreacting," or "Even your friends agree with me." These so-called outside opinions may not exist, but they create pressure. You feel surrounded and outnumbered, making their words feel more credible. It's a clever illusion that strengthens their position and isolates you further from support networks. Gaslighting also works by making you doubt your abilities. A narcissist might tell you that you'll never succeed without them, or that you're incapable of handling life on your own. These words dig deep, creating fear and dependence. When you believe you need them to survive or thrive, they can manipulate every choice you make. Their control becomes invisible, yet powerfully effective. They often shift between charm and cruelty to keep you hooked. After a particularly painful round of gaslighting, they may suddenly become sweet, apologetic, or romantic. This unpredictable cycle creates what psychologists call trauma bonding. Your brain clings to the rare moments of kindness, ignoring the damage done. This cycle traps you, making it even harder to see the manipulation clearly. Spotting gaslighting also means noticing how conversations always circle back to them. No matter the topic, they twist it into proof that you're at fault or they are the victim. This endless loop erases your perspective, making you doubt your own reasoning. If you find yourself constantly apologizing without knowing why, you may be caught in this manipulative conversational trap. Gaslighting doesn't just distort your memory, it undermines your sense of identity. When someone constantly tells you who you are, what you think, or how you feel, you start to lose touch with your own truth. Over time, you may feel like a shadow of yourself, living in their constructed narrative. Recognizing this theft of identity is key to taking back your personal power. One of the hardest parts of spotting gaslighting is that it often happens gradually. At first, the lies are small, almost harmless, but slowly they grow. You get used to questioning yourself until self-doubt feels normal. This slow erosion makes the tactic more dangerous. By the time you notice, you may already be deeply entangled, unsure how you ended up doubting everything. To counter this, create anchors outside of the narcissist's influence. Keep records, talk to trusted people, or set reminders for yourself. These anchors act as reality checks when manipulation creeps in. Having proof outside of their control helps you regain confidence in your own mind. Over time, this practice strengthens your inner stability, making gaslighting less effective against you. Another tool they use is trivializing your successes. If you achieve something, they downplay it, saying it wasn't a big deal or that you got lucky. This tactic keeps you from feeling proud and confident. Without that self-assurance, you become easier to manipulate. Recognizing when someone consistently dismisses your accomplishments is a strong indicator that gaslighting may be at play. Sometimes they disguise control as guidance. They might say, "I'm only giving you advice," but their advice always benefits them and undermines you. By framing manipulation as helpfulness, they make it harder to resist. You start to believe they know better than you, even about your own life. This subtle erosion of independence keeps you locked into their power structure. Gaslighting often includes rewriting intentions. If you call them out on hurtful words, they'll say, "I didn't mean it like that," or "You're taking it the wrong way." While intentions matter, constant excuses dismiss your feelings. The focus shifts away from their behavior and onto your interpretation, making you the problem. This trick leaves you carrying blame that isn't yours to hold. Some narcissists use silence as a gaslighting tool. They may give you the cold shoulder or withdraw affection when you challenge them. This passive tactic makes you anxious and desperate for reconciliation. You begin questioning if you're at fault simply to end the discomfort. In reality, their silence is a weapon, designed to pressure you into compliance without them saying a single word. You may also notice that conversations feel like traps. They'll ask loaded questions or twist your answers into something you never said. This constant distortion leaves you feeling like nothing you say is safe. Over time, you may stop speaking up altogether. That silence serves their goal, because it removes your voice from the equation, leaving only their version of reality in control. Narcissists also distort your perception by mixing truth with lies. They may recall a real event but twist key details, making it harder to argue. Because part of it is true, you question whether you misremembered the rest. This blending creates a believable illusion, one that confuses even the sharpest memory. Over time, it makes you lean on them as the ultimate storyteller of your life events. They often accuse you of being too emotional. If you cry, they'll say you're unstable. If you stay calm, they'll say you don't care. No reaction is ever right. This double bind keeps you trapped, always questioning yourself. Their goal is not to find truth, but to create a no-win situation where you are always wrong. Once you accept that narrative, they hold full emotional control. Gaslighting also works through repetition. The same lie told over and over begins to sound believable. Your brain naturally seeks patterns, so repeated phrases stick. When you hear, "You're too sensitive" dozens of times, you start to wonder if it's true. Repetition doesn't prove accuracy, but it does wear down resistance. Narcissists exploit this psychological trick to gain steady influence. Another tactic is feigned confusion. They'll pretend not to understand what you mean, forcing you to explain again and again. Eventually, you feel frustrated or start doubting your clarity. This act of playing dumb isn't ignorance, it's deliberate. By making you feel incoherent, they undermine your confidence. Over time, you may stop bringing up issues, handing them quiet victory. Narcissists may also gaslight by comparing you to others. They'll say, "Why can't you be more like them?" Or, "Others don't have these problems." These comparisons make you feel inadequate, while painting themselves as reasonable. The truth is, comparisons are manipulative shortcuts. They shift focus from their flaws and place the burden on you, eroding your self-worth in the process. Sometimes gaslighting hides inside storytelling. They'll recall an argument and retell it with themselves as the calm, logical one, and you as the irrational attacker. Over time, these retellings reshape how you see past events. The longer the story is repeated, the more it replaces your memory. This tactic rewrites history until their version feels more real than your lived experience. Gaslighting is also tied to control of language. They may invent new meanings for your words, twist phrases, or take things out of context. By controlling definitions, they control conversations. When you can't trust words to mean what you intend, you lose ground. Language becomes their tool, not yours. Recognizing this distortion is critical to regaining control over your own voice. Another form of manipulation is mockery. They may laugh at your concerns, roll their eyes, or dismiss your words as ridiculous. This ridicule makes you feel foolish, silencing you before you even finish. Over time, you may avoid speaking up, afraid of being mocked. This subtle silencing tactic keeps their control intact while convincing you it is safer to remain quiet and compliant. Gaslighting can appear as constant questioning. They may bombard you with, "Are you sure?" or "Do you really remember that correctly?" These repeated doubts make you pause before answering. Each pause is a crack in your certainty, which they exploit. By constantly challenging your memory, they wear down your trust in yourself, replacing it with reliance on their approval and guidance. They also manipulate by changing the rules mid-conversation. What was acceptable yesterday suddenly becomes unacceptable today. This shifting standard keeps you chasing their approval, never secure. Because the rules are always moving, you can never win. This deliberate instability ensures they stay in control, while you exhaust yourself trying to meet expectations that will never remain consistent. Another layer of gaslighting is spiritual or moral superiority. They may claim they're more enlightened, wiser, or morally correct. By presenting themselves as the higher authority, they position your perspective as flawed. This trick appeals to your desire to grow or improve, but it's a mask for dominance. True wisdom uplifts others. Narcissistic wisdom is only a tool of control. Gaslighting may even extend to your memories with other people. They'll claim friends said things they didn't, or family agreed with them when they never did. These false references make you doubt not just yourself, but your entire social circle. The isolation deepens. The narcissist becomes the only source of reality you trust, making their influence nearly impossible to escape without help. Breaking free begins with awareness. The more you learn about gaslighting, the quicker you'll spot it. Awareness acts like a shield, helping you notice manipulation before it takes root. Even if you can't confront the narcissist directly, Naming the tactic to yourself is powerful. Once you see the pattern clearly, it loses some of its power, and you begin reclaiming your strength. Recovery also requires rebuilding trust in your own mind. Surround yourself with supportive people who validate your experiences. Therapy, journaling, or simply sharing your story helps untangle lies. Each time your truth is affirmed, your confidence grows. Slowly, you rediscover your voice. The narcissist's grip weakens as your reality becomes stronger and clearer than their manipulative narrative. In the end, the one tactic narcissists use to control you, gaslighting, can only thrive if you doubt yourself. By spotting the signs, documenting reality, and trusting your instincts, you break the cycle. Remember, their power relies on confusion. Your clarity is the antidote. When you reclaim your truth, the control they worked so hard to build collapses, and your freedom finally begins.